Imagine a place where the mountains do not welcome you, where the rock walls seem to swallow sound and light whole. Ashmoor Canyon was such a place, vast and indifferent, the kind of ancient chasm that felt less like a natural wonder and more like a tomb carved by the earth itself. It was here, in this unforgiving landscape, that the Sterling family, Father Thomas, age 42, Mother Eleanor, 40, and their daughter Clara, just 15, vanished without a trace, a mystery that would defy logic and law enforcement for over a decade. They were not professional adventurers or seasoned spelunkers. They were an ordinary, relatable family from the nearby city, taking a simple, hopeful weekend trip. The terrifying outcome, the complete disappearance of a family and their vehicle, stood in stark, chilling contrast to the mundane nature of their plan. The paradox of the case was its simplicity and its absolute lack of evidence. A loving family on a short drive who simply ceased to exist. The Sterling's trip was planned as a short, easy reconnaissance drive through the canyon's less-traveled scenic route to scout a picnic spot for the following summer. Thomas had spent weeks looking over maps, selecting a route that was scenic, but, crucially, did not involve any challenging trails or dangerous off-road excursions. He told his brother, Robert, that they would be back by Sunday evening, emphasizing that the whole point was to relax and spend time together away from work and school. That final communication was a short, cheerful text message, simply stating they were entering the main road into the canyon and confirming their return time, establishing the last known point of contact before the silence began. Ashmoor Canyon itself was a geographical giant, characterized by sheer, imposing sandstone cliffs and a deep, snaking gorge at its floor. The environment was vast, remote, and covered in pockets of dense, old-growth forest, a natural fortress designed to keep secrets. This sheer scale foreshadowed the immense difficulty the search would face, making a casual accident difficult to prove and a deliberate disappearance impossible to track. The road they had taken, the old Cascade Trail, was sparsely traveled and notorious for its blind corners and sudden, precipitous drop-offs into the void. When the family failed to return by the agreed time Sunday night, Robert initially assumed a simple car trouble or a dead cell phone battery in a known signal dead zone. A full day passed before logical concern transitioned into a cold, growing panic. By Monday evening, a formal missing persons report was filed, and the Hood River County Sheriff's Office began a preliminary check of known accident sites and nearby motels. The full-scale search operation commenced on Tuesday morning, involving a massive mobilization of resources, county police, volunteer search and rescue teams, and even a National Guard helicopter unit for aerial surveillance. Ground crews meticulously searched the entire length of the Cascade Trail, combing every accessible overlook, parking area, and minor pull-off. The scale of the effort was unprecedented for the county, yet it was met with absolute futility. Investigators at the time considered several initial theories and logically dismissed them. Could they have run away? Financial records and bank accounts showed no unusual activity, and no one from the family had withdrawn any significant funds or booked future travel. Could it have been a simple accident? A car veering off one of the dangerous canyon roads? Extensive helicopter sweeps and rappelling teams scoured the most likely drop sites, searching for tire tracks, debris, or any sign of a catastrophic crash, but they found nothing. The active search was officially called off after 3 grueling weeks, with the official file designated an unsolved missing persons case. The police publicly stated that no credible evidence suggested foul play, but the lack of a car or bodies meant they could not definitively label it an accident either. They were left with an empty file and a devastated family. 2 years passed. The case had faded from the national headlines, settled into the cold case files, and become a painful, unsolved chapter in the Sterling family history. Then came the first key discovery, a piece of the puzzle found in a truly peculiar state. A utility worker performing routine maintenance on a remote power line miles from the canyon's main highway stumbled upon a small, faded leather wallet. It was Thomas Sterling's, and it contained his driver's license and a few dollars, but no credit cards. The location was peculiar. nearly 30 miles from where the family was last seen, deep in a sparsely populated logging region, a place they had no known reason to visit. The finding immediately intensified the investigation, injecting a burst of renewed, yet ultimately false, hope. Investigators meticulously searched the area surrounding the wallet's discovery, convinced that the family's car or other possessions must be nearby. Ground radar was used, forest clearings were searched inch by inch, and even the small seasonal creeks were dragged. The renewed search was a devastating failure. The wallet remained an isolated, inexplicable clue. The police were forced to admit that the discovery only deepened the mystery, confirming Thomas had been in the general region, but offering no explanation for the other 3 family members or the vehicle. Hope faded once more, and the case truly went cold, settling into a long, agonizing hibernation for the next 12 years. 14 years after the Sterling's disappearance, the central mystery of the vehicle's location was violently, tragically resolved by an incidental civilian discovery. 2 scrap metal collectors, brothers named Silas and Jasper, were illegally navigating a little-known, decades-old service road carved into the sheer upper walls of Ashmoor Canyon, scouting for abandoned equipment. They were not looking for secrets or bodies. They were looking for profit. It was a low-hanging morning mist and a sudden, unnatural glint of light that caught Silas's eye. They stopped their truck and, cautiously approaching the sheer edge, peered down into a forgotten narrow fissure. The discovery location was shocking and unnatural. A rusted, cream-colored 1980 station wagon. The Sterling family car was wedged precariously between 2 towering sandstone cliffs, approximately 90 feet below the rim. The car was not at the bottom of the gorge. It was suspended, held fast by the rocky jaws of the fissure, a terrible secret kept by the mountains. The scene was immediately secured, and a highly specialized recovery team was called in. The process was painstaking, requiring mountain rescue techniques to stabilize the wreckage before forensic experts could even approach. The car was upside down, its hood crumpled, and the roof severely compressed, a testament to the sheer force of its fall and its final, terrible resting place. Inside, what the forensic experts found was a clinical and unsettling scene. Due to the high altitude, dry conditions, and the car's sealed environment, the remains were remarkably well preserved, exhibiting a form of natural mummification rather than typical skeletal decomposition. Thomas, Eleanor, and Clara were found still belted into the back and front seats. The details immediately refuted the original theory of a simple, quick accident. The detailed forensic examination became the forensic breakthrough the case desperately needed, moving the entire investigation into a new direction. The initial external examination of the vehicle had indicated a steep, high-speed descent, but the internal evidence told a far more violent story. The autopsy report revealed that the victims had not died from the fall itself, or not immediately. The medical examiner found that Thomas and Eleanor Sterling both had multiple fractures inconsistent with a simple vehicular impact, including crushed ribs, and what appeared to be a rare blunt force trauma to the back of the skull. Most chillingly, Clara's hyoid bone, a small, delicate bone in the neck, was found to be fractured, a signature injury often indicative of manual strangulation. This finding officially reclassified the case as a triple homicide and turned the investigation on its head. The family had been murdered before their car was pushed or deliberately driven into the canyon. The investigative pivot focused on the single detail that defied the murder-suicide theory favored by some initial investigators: Thomas's recovered wallet, found miles away. Detectives began re-examining the original log of missing evidence and witness reports with a critical, new context, looking for any sign of a local with odd behavior. They began reviewing property records for any remote cabins or isolated homes along the Cascade Trail, the only logical place a murderer could operate unseen. This review led them to the name of Walter Kresge, a 60-year-old loner who owned a small, dilapidated cabin deep in the logging region where Thomas's wallet was found, miles from the cliff where the car was discovered. Kresge fit the suspect profile perfectly: a reclusive, eccentric local, known for his paranoid dislike of outsiders and a long history of minor property disputes with the Forest Service. He worked a seasonal job as an unlicensed scrap metal recycler, providing a seemingly legitimate reason for him to be operating on that remote service road. The police obtained a warrant and executed a raid on Kresge's property, which was isolated and surrounded by a high, hastily erected chain-link fence. The cabin was a hoarder's nightmare, cluttered and frozen in time, smelling of mildew and old gasoline. It was a place where a person could disappear into his own madness, forgotten by the outside world. The search of the cabin yielded damning evidence. In a dusty corner of a rusted shed, a detective uncovered a small, waterproof military ammunition box. Inside, they found Thomas Sterling's credit cards, Eleanor's engagement ring, and, most damningly, a small, disposable camera with a nearly full roll of film. When developed, the final 4 photographs on the roll were poorly framed, grainy pictures of the Sterling family station wagon parked off the side of the road, taken just moments before they disappeared. This irrefutable trophy evidence connected Kresge directly to the victims at their last known location. Confronted with the evidence, the car's contents, the camera, and the forensic findings, Walter Kresge, the hidden monster, finally confessed. His confession was delivered in a cold, matter-of-fact tone, devoid of any discernible remorse. He stated that the family had simply stopped their car near his property to consult a map, accidentally trespassing on a small, unmarked corner of his land. The motive was revealed to be shockingly banal and petty. He claimed they looked like rich city people who thought they could do whatever they wanted, trespassing without a care for local property rights. Fueled by a lifetime of paranoid resentment and a profound lack of empathy, he had confronted Thomas, leading to a sudden, violent, and entirely senseless struggle. He admitted to killing all 3 of them on the spot, using a heavy wrench from his truck, and then driving their car to the secluded cliff fissure where he pushed it over the edge, believing the impossible location would conceal the truth forever. The legal process was swift and certain. Walter Kresge was charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder, kidnapping, and felony concealment of a corpse. The evidence, the car, the remains, the camera, and the cold confession was overwhelming. Kresge was tried, found guilty on all counts, and sentenced to 3 consecutive life terms in prison without the possibility of parole. The discovery of the car ended the search, but confirmed the worst fears. The final reflection on the case is a somber one, revealing a tragedy born not of a grand criminal conspiracy or a freak accident of nature, but of a momentary flare of petty hatred and the simple, banal evil of a single, resentful man. The Sterling family, setting out for a hopeful day trip, became the unsuspecting victims of a monster hiding in plain sight, their final, terrible resting place, a precarious metal tomb wedged between the ancient, silent cliffs of Ashmoor Canyon.